Well, hello and welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're going to be looking at Mick Worrall's massive O-Gauge layout based on Eastfield. We're going to have plenty of running shots and you're going to be able to see images from way back at the beginning of building the layout, all the way up to present date. And whilst that's going on, there's going to be a little bit of conversation throughout the whole of the video between myself and Mick, where we're just sort of discussing different things about the layout and how it came to be and what's to come. So I hope you enjoy. I know there was people asking me when I put the first video up.
Yeah.
There was people asking. So, how many shows booked out at now, Eastfield?
3 so far. Glasgow, February 2024. Wigan, October 2024. Perth in Scotland, June 2025.
How many people are you going to require to actually run it?
About 10.
10?
Yeah. The amount of people that said to me, "Oh, come and be an operator," I said, "You've got to join the club. You've got to be a club member," because it's crazy. I mean, the amount of people that would love to just come and operate. I said, well, the thing is, the operators have got to be trained.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll be honest, I couldn't operate on that.
It's a logistical nightmare. I mean, even I get nervous when I'm operating the fiddle yard, and I said, I'll be happy to do the depot and let you run the main lines. I'll be quite happy shunting my diesels around on shed, going into each road as if it's getting different works done and this, that, and that. I said, I'm happy to do that. So it's not a club layout. It's mixed. I mean, join the club, become a member.
So I've been up there, I've seen it running. Now, the first time I was up there, I remember saying to you, you could physically sit there with a chair at a
just
location, even in the centre of that layout. You could sit there at the middle of the viewing side of the layout. You could sit there with a chair and there wouldn't not be something happening.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You've got those lines, you've got the lines coming along, and then you've obviously got the depot, and that's going to be running. So I've never counted, and there's probably some not there as well. When I was there the first time, there was a load of stock out the front of, so we're going to say the left-hand side of the depot, and there was nothing on the right-hand side of the depot when I went the first time. Now this time when I turned up, right, there's been quite a bit of work that's gone on. Right, and there was a few locos parked up on that side.
I've done a bit more work since you've been there last, like a bit of greenery, a bit more roads. Well, this is coming on leaps and bounds.
And then obviously the other side had a load of how many do you predict, or do you know how many actual locos is going to be sort of like
on the shed?
Just on the layout.
Well, there'll be at least 150. So a lot of them will be on tables, but every now and then when we take a loco disappear, there'll be another loco appear, or double-headed will come on, go on to the shed. So there'll always be something happening on the shed, and that's the entertainment value. But what we want to try and do is, because we'll have back scenes, people won't actually see what we've got on the tables in the middle.
So, is it going to be a mixture, or is there going to be, say, more freight than there is passenger? Or is it just going to be...
Technically, in real terms, there'd be more passenger than freight, because they're coming out of Queen Street every 10 minutes or so, right, in reality. And then you've got the junction, which is Cowlairs Junction, where you get your freights coming off, okay? back in the day, there was quite a bit of freight. It's where they from Moss End across to Edinburgh and up, up to Aberdeen, Inverness, whatever. But there was quite a bit of time in between seeing one against the other.
Yeah.
What we want to do is compress that. So if you see a tank train with a pair of 37, like with some of the shots that we did, there'll be two passing. That would probably happen very rarely, but we're running it as entertainment value. We're going to run prototypical freight in Scotland, running past Eastfield, which I know some go, well, that never went past there, but it's a typical Scottish. It's got a distillery grain wagon, it's got log carriers. I mean, log carriers may not necessarily have gone past, but it's for people to enjoy.
Yeah.
Take it as it is. It's not a... And I never use the word replica or an exact replica of Eastfield. It's a representation of Eastfield, because we've tried to represent it as close as we can. It's Eastfield, but as close as we can get it.
Yeah. I mean, the actual MPD, right now, when I first went in there and saw it the first time, I mean, I'd seen photos. You'd showed me photos. I'd seen photos on Facebook, things like that. Yeah, you could see it was big. When it was physically presented to you in person, I remember standing there just thinking, wait, actually, I can't really say it, guys. I can't edit that out. I wanted to go beep like that, right? Because it is huge. But it's not just huge. It's, when you look at it, especially from where I'm stood at the side, the viewing area, you're like, wow, because the level of detail there on it, and you're just like, you are totally sort of,
well, that's the
mind
thing.
is blown.
If you stand in certain locations, like people did in the days of when Eastfield was there, and then look at it from the perspective on the layout, you can really visualise the layout and the real location, and you can't really.
Well, we've had that.
The track is as accurate as you're ever going to get it.
You'll have seen there's a couple of the comments on that, on the actual video I did the first time, where people have said, I physically remember standing in X location and seeing it like that. In fact, there was one recently, I'm sure it said, that has took me back.
Yeah, well, that was one of the Eastfield drivers.
Yeah.
6 Eastfield drivers following it, and 3 of them have been in tears, so, from what I've been told. And one of them actually did say, brought back such happy memories, just seeing the...
Was that off watching the video? Or
Pretty much, yeah. Off the video. Because at the end of the day, they're living what they used to do back in the 70s and 80s, and they bring back memories. I mean, that for me, that's why I've modelled it, because I've always liked Scottish layouts. I've always had depots. And Eastfield was one of those things where I'm going to build that one day. 30 years ago when it was a pipe dream, and then I was going to build it in N and build it in double O and so on, and then I went the full hog and did it in O.
If you're going to do it
big.
Do it big, aye.
But people still think it was it's going to be done in N-gauge. Because when we were at Pontefract show, there was two lads that come over and said, "Oh, you're the club that's doing the N-gauge Eastfield, aren't you?" And Dale just goes, "Yeah." So they've gone away and gone, "Oh, I can't wait to see that." So they're going to be in for a bit of a shock when they go to Glasgow. I don't do things.
You've got a 75-foot layout in length at weight, one way on that layout at the moment, right? If it was in N, what's that going to be?
Ooh, well, put it this way, we could probably do scale Edinburgh to Glasgow, Queen Street, and get the triangle in to go to the Highlands. It could have been longer, it could have been shorter, but it just had to be.
You can see, there's a compromise. If you wanted to do it to scale, then
well, Cowlairs Junction's a compromise because in reality, John worked out that it'd be 27 feet just for the junction. Now we've done the junction exactly as it's meant to be in terms of trains going from one track to another.
Yeah.
But instead of a point being that long, it's that long, but it still works.
Yeah.
And the compromise is that coming round the corner, because obviously the Queen Street tracks would have gone straight on, Cowlairs Junction would have gone round like it has,
yes.
But Queen Street would have gone right into where John's South PLO Junction is, because you've got your carriage signs. Now, in an ideal world, if they had that layout been a fixed position in the club rooms, and John wasn't there, then I would have done the track straight as it was, put some carriage signs in, and then have the embankment going down into Queen Street, and it would have been fantastic. But it would have never have gone out to shows.
No,
and that's the only drawback. So the compromise was to do the bend as John has on his layout, and it works. You've got to realise you've got to make a few sacrifices.
I mean, the cutting. I mean, the depot is mind blowing when you see it now. Now, when I walked in the other day, a lot had gone on the other side.
Yeah.
That wasn't there the last time I was there.
Well, I work on it quite a lot. There's only so much. I mean, not blowing my own trumpet. There's a lot of the layout I have done. The electrics were done by Frank and Dale. Ballasting was done by myself, Dale, and Jack. But all the buildings were done by me. Everything apart from the flats and the tenement blocks, which Rob did on Northumbria Painting Services. But I started that shed 3.5, 4 years ago, and never thought in my wildest dreams that it would ever come to what it is now. But that's down to Steve, who works at Matec. And had I not known him, Eastfield may never have happened, because there's no way I was ever going to find a place
big enough
to put a 75-foot layout. I mean, it originally was going to be 68, but we just had to stretch her a little bit to get the curves in the cutting, you know, as nice as they are now. Otherwise, they'd been too sharp and it wouldn't have looked right.
I see the cutting. I know from the first time I was there, the cutting was one of my favourite spots. You've got that huge depot there, right? You've got that huge depot, and you're just sort of like, wow.
Yeah, a lot of people like the cutting.
The cutting, and especially, I mean, the rocks, the whole the way it's been done.
Well, it took me a long time to do that, and the funny thing was, the other day, funny enough, anyway, so I chucked the can, and it chipped the plaster, and I was cursing, and then I got this grey. I said, I'll just touch it, and I went, shh. And I thought, well, actually, that looks quite good, because it's taken a bit of the red off. Yeah. So I did a little bit more somewhere else, and it's actually enhanced it just by mistake by throwing a can. And I think sometimes that can happen. You can you might do a little bit of greenery and think, oh, that's not right. I'll put another bit of scattered grass on there, or I'll put a little bit, and it still looks a bit greeny, if that makes sense. And when I was spraying my tracks, when I did my mainline, and I weathered them, I spilt a little bit of the track dirt on the grass. Again, by mistake, I looked at it and thought, actually, that looks quite good. It tones it's still green, but it tones it down. So if you notice, I don't know if you've noticed, I have toned down all the green. I know, because it's easy to walk in for me right now, and I can go, wow, that's different there. You know what I mean? I noticed that there's a bit of playing going on because the Northern bus was getting stopped by the Vauxhall Nova, right? There's been a murder on the bus. I took a couple of pictures of that because I thought that's brilliant, right? The bus driver's been speeding, but there was an aspect. And one of the things we said, did you notice I've finished weathering the track? So I quickly, when I got back, I was looking, and I looked at where the track hadn't been done on the previous videos and the footage, and I looked at it. And then I looked, and while I was at it, I was going, I didn't realise the last time I was there, all of that length didn't have any greenery on it at all. Exactly. It was painted brown. It was just, you know what I mean, right? And then I looked, and then I was the area with the bridge near the flats and things. And there's work gone on there. I think there's a bit of the hedge gone up with a car park virtually on one of the other buildings. Yeah, I mean, that was in temporary, but that's what it's going to look like when it's done. Yeah, but I tried to put things in place to see what it looks like, to see if it looks sort of like retro, sort of like retrofit. But the tracks. I mean, I spent about 6 hours or more doing the grass on the front, and again, spray. That's where the toning down of the grass came in. I wasn't bothered about the overspill of the track dirt because it enhanced the grass, if anything else. And Dale agreed that that looks nice. So was that sprayed on, or was it? It's a combination of just sprayed on with 3 different colours: track dirt, track grime, and then like a brownie, sort of just to tone it in, blend it in, and it's worked quite well. Sometimes you do things by mistake or by accident, and you're thinking, "Oh, what have I done there?" But actually, when you look at it after it's dried, it looks better than you. I've done that a few times, to be honest. So things happen by mistake. Because the first when I started putting on, thinking, "Oh my god, this is going to look really rubbish," but it actually turned out to be, touch wood, very nice. But little, I mean, obviously we'll have like flashing things coming from inside, like noises of
ambient sound.
Yeah,
in there.
like so people just I can hear someone come from the depot, and then like grinders and
bit of mumbling and things like that.
like banging the wheels and things like that. And then you're like welding and just
ambient noise.
Ambient noise that you could just about hear if you're near the depot thing, and people say it's coming from the depot.
Which, bearing in mind, when you go to a shop, I know when I went down to get it, you become accustomed to it when you're in there for a while.
Aye.
But when you initially go in, there's this massive din of noise, isn't it? Because everyone's talking,
Well, the thing we've got to bear in mind as well is how loud the locos are going to be, because obviously in the club they are loud, but those particular ones may not be as loud in a big hall with people.
Yeah.
But we've got to get that balance where you can only hear them when you're in front of the layout and not the other side of the hall, because with that amount of locos on the shed and the amount of stuff running and ticking over and that, it will just drive people loopy.
You're going to have the two HSTs, and they're going to be full
rates.
Full rates.
Yeah. I mean, normally the ones who go into Queen Street are 7 as opposed to 8, because even a 7 coach overhangs the platform, which means they can only go in quick turnaround and they're straight back out again, because they're fouling the track circuits for the right hand side if you're facing the tunnel. It wouldn't be prototypical for 2 HSTs to pass, but again, using a bit of modular's license, you could have the intercity executive going one way as it's coming through the cut in, the blue greys coming the other way.
Yeah.
So they could cross over. It is just for people's entertainment. If there's a freight train every 3 minutes, then it's keeping people entertained.
When there's not something going past on the line,
well, that's where people.
There's going to be that movement in the depot. That's that.
I mean, there'll always be. I mean, like you said before, if you had a seat in front of it, and I'd be definitely one of those people that would sit there all day long. And we do intend to do an I Spy book, a train spotters book.
Yeah.
But things like where if there is going to be nearly 200 locos, then you might have kids, even adults, to be fair, that'll be interested to sit there and mark off the trains, and there might be one or two who goes, look, I'm only 1 in 3 more, where are they? Well, they're inside the shed, but you can't see them, but they will come out eventually, because everything that goes in the shed will come out, so everything will be seen. So if anybody wanted to sit there all day,
bring your flask,
they could do proper spotting,
pat lunch, just sit there.
But no, I am looking forward to going to Glasgow.
But I said that the first time when we were there, but you could physically sit there and forget the entire rest of what's going on in the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think it would be hard to watch it, walk away, go and do a bit of shopping, come back and see the same thing that you saw when you came back before. It's unlikely.
I mean, rolling stock wise, there'll probably be obviously the same stock will continue to go around, but if there's a gap of say 2 hours, but the next train that would be on would be a different loco anyway, so to the general public it's a different train. And if anybody is stood there for more than 2 hours, yes, they will see the same stock. But if it's a different loco, like the Queen Street locals 4 coaches, doesn't matter what the run numbers on there. If it's a different loco, it's a different train.
Yeah.
And it's come from a different location. Plus, we've also got to bear in mind that if we run a coal train one way full, it runs back the other way empty. You want to try and be a little bit more realistic with the freight. You'd only be running 2 full loaded coal trains going in both directions. We will try, because, I mean, again, we pick up on a lot of comments on other layouts. People saying, where's your taillights? taken all that on board, because if they're the sort of things that people are going to pick up on, we're going to make sure that we've got a taillight on a train that's flashing, to make it authentic. Trouble with O-gauges, because of its sheer size, everything stands out a lot more. Even things like doing weathering or livery applications or whatever. But it's little things like that add to the attention to detail on the layout. I mean, over the coming months, you will start to see the biggest change going when we start to put colour aspect signals in. We started to put the tower lights on the depot, which will make a hell of a difference. We're going to put some stripy doors on some of the doors.
I hadn't even thought about the tower lights. I hadn't even thought about that. When you think about it,
there's about 10 of those going in.
How tall are they going to be?
They are about 2.5 feet. Since I've seen these brass ones, they just blew me out of the water when it comes to detail.
Well, I do hope you enjoyed that. Make sure to comment, like and subscribe, and keep a lookout as we get more updates on Eastfield as it progresses. Bye for now.